Welcome back to another episode of Better Than I Found It, the podcast all things college golf. You're listening to Mike McGraw, the men's golf coach at Baylor University. Today I'll begin Better Than I Found It with a Baylor golf update. Now, two of our former Baylor Bears continue their really good play out on the Korn Ferry Tour. In fact, as I sit here recording this podcast, Cooper Dossie and Johnny Kiefer are playing final round of the Korn Ferry Tour Championship in French Lick, Indiana. They each started the final round at 2 under par, and were tied for 18th place, 8 shots behind the leader. Johnny, who is number 1 on the points list for the current season, has already secured his PGA Tour card for next year. Cooper is currently number 46 on the points list and will retain his Korn Ferry Tour card for next season. Congratulations to both you guys. We're very proud of you here in Waco, and we wish you the very best going forward. Now let's talk about our current season thus far. Now, unfortunately, we haven't gotten off to our best start. We've kind of struggled in the first few events, especially the first two, the Folds of Honor up in Michigan and the Fighting Illini in Chicago. Now, both tournaments, we didn't play well as a team. We did have some individual results that were pretty good. Jonas Appel led the Folds of Honor after 18 holes individually, and Alex Hurd shot a final round 67 there to finish 11th in that event. However, this past week's team event at the Trinity Forest Invitational up in Dallas, that's SMU's tournament they host, we opened with a really solid 9 under par, 279, to grab a share of the lead with Southern Cal. That day, we were led by Jonas Appel's 66, 6 under par, which included an eagle on his very first hole of the day. We also got under par rounds that day from Vincent Sternfeld, who shot 70, and Davis Ovard, who shot 71. Unfortunately, round 2 did not go our way. We shot 4 over par, 292, one of the worst rounds of the day that day, and we dropped all the way to 8th place, which was pretty disappointing for players and certainly for coaches alike. Wasn't what we were wanting to do. We were hoping to stay in contention to maybe win our first tournament in a while. Didn't happen, and so then it became a matter of just playing for pride the final round. I kind of challenged the guys to do that. We're setting the stage for the next tournament, finish on a good note, and we can be in good shape for that next tournament. But we did play a lot better. We shot 5 under par. I think it was the 4th best score of the final round. Vincent Sternfeld, the sophomore from Stockholm, shot 69. Alex Hurd shot a 70. Jonas Appel, 71. He finished tied for 12th individually. Sam Dossie had 73, and Davis Ovard 74 for the final round. So our 5 under par, 283 moved us all the way up to 6th place from 8th, which was much better. The finish was kind of extraordinary. Alex Hurd had birdied holes 16 and 17. Sam Dossie had a couple late birdies. Jonas Appel and Vincent Sternfeld both birdied 16, 17, and 18. All of that to say we moved from 8th to 6th. Southern Cal won the event, tied with Rice, and 1 shot back with South Alabama. So still not our best tournament, but certainly a great step in the right direction. I felt like the guys took the challenge I gave him after round 2 and did something with it the final round to end on a good note and kind of give us a little bit of momentum as we head to what will be one of our toughest tournaments of the fall, the Clerico at Southern Hills in Tulsa, hosted by Oral Roberts University. Obviously, I can't hide my excitement about being back at Southern Hills. I love that place. But it's also a really good field. Oral Roberts is hosting. We will be there. New Mexico, Washington, Oklahoma State, Missouri, Auburn, Marquette, Arizona, Texas Tech, Northwestern, and SMU. So a really, really solid field. And as I said, it's hard for me to contain my excitement about going back to Southern Hills, a host to multiple U.S. Opens and PGA Championships, among other major amateur and professional events through the years. I always tell my players, when you play a golf course like that, Southern Hills, or when we go to a place like Prairie Dunes up in Hutchinson, Kansas, or Olympia Fields in Chicago, I always tell my players, when you play a golf course like that that's hosted a major championship, if you're paying attention, you'll be a better player after 3 competitive rounds at that golf course, and that's certainly true for Southern Hills. We have three players who actually played in the conference championship at Southern Hills last April. That's Vincent Sternfeld, Jonas Appel, and Davis Ovard. And also Sam Duffy was subbed in the final round and shot a really solid 73 there at Southern Hills. Golf course played really, really hard. It normally does in April. It won't play easy this fall, I can tell you. In the fall, the greens can generally be firmer and faster than they'll be in the summer at Southern Hills. So it's just a great test of golf, an exciting place to go, a historical place to go, and honestly will tell you a lot about where your game is, will teach you a lot about your game, and will always be a good test. It doesn't matter what day you're playing it. Southern Hills will be great. So we're thankful that Oral Roberts is going to allow us to come back to that event. Really excited to go to Southern Hills. In fact, our schedule this year, in the fall and the spring together, we have 6 courses on our schedule that have hosted either major championships or PGA Tour events or a live event or a major LPGA event. So we play some golf courses that have hosted championships, and I'm excited. And I remind my guys that these opportunities to play great golf courses like this are not to be taken for granted ever. You're always thankful that you have an opportunity to go play a championship golf course. It's one thing to shoot low scores on an easy golf course, but to be able to do that and test your skills on a championship course, that tells you a whole lot about yourself. And it will also help you progress your career, there's no doubt. So always be thankful and grateful for opportunities like that. I remind my players of that all the time. You know, on this podcast, I talk about gratitude a lot. I've mentioned it, I don't know, countless times, that I've always felt like gratitude, being grateful, being thankful for something or anything is one of the very best human qualities. It reminds us that not everybody has what we've got, and not everybody always does. And so I'm very thankful for, having had a career in coaching, where I've been, what I've been able to do. Very, very thankful for that. And I think gratitude when it comes to college golf really needs to start with the coaches, regardless of the results. And ours haven't been very good early this season, but I'm very thankful for the players we have this year and every year at Baylor for that matter. I'm grateful for the way that they have represented Baylor the last 12 years, and especially the way they've handled the adversity of our poor results this year so far. As a coach, you really need to be grateful that your players are there. They challenge your skills as a communicator, as an amateur sports psychologist, as a friend, as a mentor. Our players are there for a lot of reasons, but those are some of the things they'll do for you. But they also give you an opportunity to have a job. If it wasn't for our players, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So I'm very thankful for that. Talk about gratitude. It's been documented, my story of leaving Oklahoma State and how I was let go. It's been documented in several places, one of them being my book, Better Than I Found It, that I wrote several years back. I had coached as the head coach at Oklahoma State for 8 years. We'd had quite a lot of success, but not as much in the past, the final 2 years there at Oklahoma State as we had the first 6. And when Mike Holder let me go, it was a punch in the gut, and that has been well documented. I certainly wrote about it in my book, that was a punch in the gut. It didn't feel good. Nobody likes being fired. No, that's not a good feeling for anyone. But I also recall it occurred to me almost immediately, that I needed to thank Mike for having given a high school golf coach an opportunity back in 1997 to go to work for him. I mean, he was an iconic coach, one of the most successful, if not the most successful coach that ever coached in our game. And for him to have given a high school coach that opportunity to work as his assistant for many years, and then to have hired me when he became the athletic director, to have hired me as his replacement at Oklahoma State was an honor. Honestly, it was great. And it advanced my career in untold ways. And to not thank him, to be ungrateful, would have been a slap in the face. And that's not the way I wanted to finish my time at Oklahoma State. So the first thing I did was thank him, shook his hand, appreciated that. And I did immediately move on. And within 45 minutes of the announcement, I'd already accepted a position to go to work as Jay Sewell's assistant coach at the University of Alabama. I wanted to stay in the game. I wanted to stay in coaching. And when he found out I'd been let go, that's the first thing he did was call me. and gave me that position. So I was very thankful for that. But if you fast forward, and I'm going to read directly from Better Than I Found It in chapter 26. If you fast forward a year and a half later, when I was at Baylor working my first week, and it just suddenly occurred to me that this is a great opportunity that I have, and I'm certainly thankful for it. So I'll read directly from page 207 in my book. When Baylor Athletics Director Ian McGraw called me about the position at Baylor, it seemed like a perfect fit for me. My wife, Pam, was from Houston, so she would be near family. I would also be close to my family, most of who lived in Oklahoma. I was returning to the Big 12 Conference, which I knew very well. Waco is a geographical center of Texas, and Baylor's Christian mission was intriguing to me. Finally, I was excited to be back in the saddle again, anxious to begin developing a team, not to mention Baylor's offer was more than appealing. Sitting at my desk during that first week of school, however, I realized that I had one more thing to do before I could really move on to this next chapter of my career. I got out some Baylor stationery and began writing. Letter to Mike Holder, August 25th, 2014. Dear Mike, I'm in my office this morning preparing for our first team meeting this afternoon, and it occurred to me that I wouldn't have this opportunity if it had not been what you had done for me back in 1997. I always knew that you were reluctant to hire an assistant, but you hired me anyway. When I left Stillwater, I never properly thanked you for all you taught me through the years, things I use every day, so thank you. I hope you know that I always held in high regard all you were able to accomplish as a coach, and I always tried to maintain the standard of excellence that you set. My final 2 years at OSU were painful, as I felt I'd let a lot of people down. Always know that I gave it my all every day. Thank you again, Mike, and best of luck to the Cowboys going forward. That's the letter I wrote to Mike when I first got to Baylor and really realized, I am truly grateful for all he did for me to advance my career. And I wouldn't have been sitting in the desk as the head coach at Baylor if it hadn't been for what Mike did for me back in 1997. Again, gratitude, it heals a lot of wounds, and it pushes you forward in ways it's hard to quantify how it pushes you forward. And forgiveness is one of the greatest things you can do for another human being. It takes the burden off you as well. And so for me to be the kind of coach I hope to be for the Baylor Bears, it was incumbent upon me to make sure that Mike Holder knew I did appreciate everything he had done for me. I was moving on, and I was ready for my next opportunity. A lot of players through the years have, once they've gone on and into either professional careers or just careers in the business world and started families and whatever, they look back on their time in college with great fondness and also great gratitude just for the opportunity to have done it. I was able to coach. Bob Tway played golf I didn't coach Bob, but he played golf at Oklahoma State, was the Fred Haskins Award winner, and went on to win a major championship and I think 7 other PGA Tour victories. But Bob's son, Kevin, played for me in the 2000s, 2007 through 2011. And Bob would come up to Karsten Creek occasionally. He was at tournaments frequently, and we saw him a lot. He was still playing professional golf at the time. And I'll read directly from my Stuff That Works journal. Bob Tway played on 2 NCAA championship golf teams while at Oklahoma State, 1978 and 1980. He told me on more than one occasion that those 2 team championships meant as much to him as the 1986 PGA Championship that he won in dramatic fashion, holding a bunker shot on the 72nd hole to defeat Greg Norman at Inverness. And he told me, actually, I would trade any professional win for at least one more NCAA title. And when I look back on that, that's what kind of made it so painful that Kevin played for me 4 years. He was a 4-time All-American, and we finished 4th, 2nd, 5th, and 3rd in Kevin's 4 years. We never were able to get a title, and I always wanted to do that with Kevin, and I know Bob really, really wanted that. But Bob looks back on those days at Oklahoma State with incredible fondness. His teammates that he still is lifelong friends with those people. And I mean, that's quite a statement to say that he would trade a PGA Tour victory for another NCAA team title. So he's going to trade an individual accomplishment for something that a team accomplished. That's extraordinary to me, honestly. Early on in my head coaching career at Oklahoma State, I would occasionally have former players come and speak to our guys. And one fall, I had several former players back to talk to the players about life on tour, about practicing, about training. And I told my players to be ready with questions to keep the discussion going. One of my players, and we'll call him Jimmy, he was only a freshman at the time, asked the group of players, don't you think that college slowed your progress as a player? I mean, don't you think all of this studying just gets in the way of becoming a great player? That was his question. And Bo Van Pelt, who literally he's won on the PGA Tour, he's now on the Champions Tour, great player, was a top 10 machine for years, raised his hand and said, Coach McGraw, I've got this one. And he looked at that boy and he said, Jimmy, you're an idiot. You have no idea how great this time of life is. You need to use this time, which is the best 4 years of your life, to grow and develop your game. You'll make friends for life. You've got it all wrong, Jimmy. Heck, if the USGA, the NCAA, and the PGA Tour would allow it, I would go back to college right now, today, and play for Coach McGraw. And I thought that was quite a statement that Bo made right there to that young freshman at the time. And gosh, I could have used Bo at that time. He would have been great as a transfer on the team. But his time at Oklahoma State meant that much to him. And not many people know this, but after playing about a year and a half, Bo actually stepped away from college golf. He told Coach Holder, I'm just not, I'm not in it right now. This is not me. I'm going to take a step back. And he joined a fraternity and just started living the normal college life. And it took one semester, and he was in Coach Holder's office, and he was talking to him about how he had made a mistake and he wanted to come back and play. And Mike Holder was smart enough to know that he needed that boy back on the team. And Bo eventually became a first-team All-American and went on to a great professional career. But that college experience and playing for Coach Holder and playing with all those great players and playing on teams that won conference championships meant so much to Bo that he wanted to tell my freshmen when I was coaching at Oklahoma State, you got this all wrong. This is the greatest time of life. You're never, ever going to find anything better than this. You better enjoy it, and you can develop your game in college, so don't look past this. And, as one of my players later told me, he said, and it was Johnny Kiefer, who's now number one on the Korn Ferry Tour points list that I just told you about earlier. Johnny once said when COVID hit, we had 5 players on the team, 2 of them seniors, that was Colin Kober and Cooper Dossey, who immediately said, if the NCAA will give us an extra year for COVID, we're coming back. We want one more year. And Johnny Kiefer, Tyler Eisenhart, and Luke Dossey all said they were coming back. And as Johnny put it, he says, there's no way to over-prepare for the PGA Tour. This is a great time of life. I'm staying. If they give us another year, I'm staying. And so Colin and Cooper came back for one more year, their senior year, their 5th year. And Tyler Eisenhart, Luke Dossey, and Johnny Kiefer all came back. And it's part of the reason that we made nationals in 23 and 24. That trio right there, their commitment to come back for a 4th and 5th year was extraordinary. And I think it was great. And it spoke directly to how much their time at Baylor actually meant to them. I look back at another Oklahoma State player that I coached, and that was Ricky Fowler, who was easily one of the best players in college golf. When he left and turned pro, he told me, he said, thank you, Coach, for all you did. I've really loved my time at Oklahoma State. And just so you know, I'll be wearing orange on Sundays on the PGA Tour one day. And I think as we all can plainly see, Ricky kept to that and has honored Oklahoma State. Every time he tees it up on a Sunday, he's in some form of orange to honor his time at Oklahoma State, his commitment to Oklahoma State, his love for that university. And, I always appreciated that, respected that, the fact that he would do that. And it's meant a lot to me through the years. I know it's meant a lot to Alan Bratton in recent years as Ricky has come back to talk to the team. So getting back to this gratitude, just being thankful for the opportunity to play college golf, being thankful for the opportunity to coach college golf. If I'm speaking to players out there, either current college players or future college players, remember gratitude is a great human quality. Be thankful for your parents who have helped support you in every way possible, financially, spiritually, emotionally, as you've come up as junior golfers. Be thankful to your coaches. They push you and challenge you all the time. That's high school coaches and college coaches as well. Whatever teams you've been on, be thankful for your teammates. I once heard it said, this is not mine, but I once heard this said, you'll forget the wins and losses. You'll forget the post-game talks. You'll forget the ups and downs. But you'll never, ever forget your teammates. So thank your teammates for all they've done to create memories and lifelong friendships. Thank those who have supported your dreams. Just that could be anybody that supported your dreams, a member at the club, a mentor of some sort. Thank volunteers, rules officials, and tournament organizers. You get to play in these wonderful tournaments on these great golf courses. And it's more than that. It's the people behind the scenes that are doing all the work to make those tournaments go. Be thankful for manufacturers' reps that actually help you get in the correct equipment, that sponsor you as you come up. Be thankful for that. Be thankful for anybody who's ever believed in you, but also be thankful for those who didn't, because we know those who didn't believe in you inspired you to better heights or higher heights. Be thankful to your competitors. Iron sharpens iron, and they've made you better as well. Always be thankful for that. Finally, be thankful for God. He blessed you with talent. And as I've always heard said, your talent is a gift from God. What you do with that talent is your gift back to Him. So He's given us all a certain amount of talent. Being thankful for that, being thankful enough to develop that talent, that's a wonderful thing. I think Daniel Makepeace said it best with regard to playing on a team in college. He said, you only get so many times to put the uniform on. Don't ever take it for granted. So this podcast, although it was a shorter one, was meant to remind all of us that being thankful and grateful for all the opportunities we have in good times and in bad, when the results are good and when they're not, being thankful for the opportunity to be able to do this is something you don't ever want to forget. And I'm truly grateful for all of my Better Than I Found It listeners. Thank you so much for listening each week. It's an honor to come into your phones or into your devices and actually get to talk about this great game and this great profession that I love so much. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you again next week.